He says, even now, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, let alone the day after tomorrow. I'm making up my own day.
What happens is that the day after tomorrow, as they say, there's a new
JS, the day after tomorrow.
Tomorrow and do something. Let's meet up again the day after tomorrow and do something fun.
Next week or next month.
We'll come next week when we go to the doctors.
I will visit. Details will come next week, so stay tuned.
Thinking about next week, next month, next year for you.
Next month, next year, but next week, next month, next year, but it will happen.
I would say it's highly likely that what will happen, certainly in the next 2 years, but also in the long
academies in the next 2 years.
Later, Neptune. 5 years later,
In the entire world, only 5 years later.
5 years later.
I was here too, day before yesterday.
Yesterday, then today is because it was even lower the day before yesterday.
The day before yesterday, all right?
When we left the day before yesterday.
The Orchid meeting the day before yesterday, they were...
Asked me the other night, oh, you know, when
Sarah was here the other night, her eldest has just got into university.
And the other night, and I said, I think I'm happy.
He had one in Atlanta the other night. Amazing wine the other night. This was the list the other night.
Someone says, well, you know, I did pray the other day.
The other day, one of the dedicated civil servants on the ground.
The other day.
The other day, I thought, man, let me...
Breakfast with my friend the other day. We both told numerous stories.
Article just the other day, it came up in my... And I was reading an article just the other day, it came up in...
Wrote, the other day he sent me a long text after he got back home late from work.
I remember recently seeing an...
I've become really interested recently in this.
Recently we've been focusing a lot.
Recently picked up a book by... And so I recently picked up a book by Alison Griffiths.
6-year-old founder of Tumblr recently sold his company to Yahoo.
On TV recently.
a year ago, 5 years ago, or 40 years ago.
5 years ago.
5 years ago was unheard of, when just 5 years ago was unheard of.
The worst thing that ever happened to me in my life is now my greatest gift. 6 years ago, I'd never thought...
4 or 5 years ago was